I wanted to give you a quick overview of what SPSS can do and why we use it. SPSS looks a lot like you would imagine Excel to look like in terms of having your columns and rows here. The difference is, as you can see from up along the top in the toolbars, you have a lot more power when it comes to running statistical tests. One of the cool things is you can toggle between your data view and your variable view. If you just go down to your bottom left-hand corner, click on variable view, it'll give you all of the information that you need on your variables. Now, mind you, you have to input all of this. For each variable, you're going to have to input a name. You're also going to have to let the computer, as you can see, the computer will just sort of assume that it's numeric. You can include the labels, your values. So for instance, 1 is yes, and then you add, and then 2 is no, add, and then go ahead and click OK. Missing, if you know what your missing value is, I usually put in a discrete value and use 9 or 99 depending. And then again, your columns align your measures and your input. Most measures you can choose, again, like we saw with this last session, nominal, ordinal, or scale variable. So since there's two categories, we're just going to go with nominal. Now, just so that you understand a little bit about what SPSS is doing behind the scenes, the reason why we have these columns and we have widths and decimal places, SPSS looks at data like a continuous stream of information. What this really says is this variable is a numeric variable. It's going to take up 8 places. So imagine like you're writing across in characters. It's going to take up 8 slots. After that 8th slot, the computer is going to start looking for a new variable. And so again, you can just type in what label it is. This is always a good thing to do just so that you can keep records of all of your information. Inevitably, if you're using this data over time, you might forget exactly what the variable means and what the label is, and again, also what the value is. So if you toggle back to your data view, you can now see that we have this variable over here, and this is where we would input our data. See, just as a side note, the computer will let you input whatever you want. That, of course, doesn't have meaning based on what we gave the codes in this other view here. See, there was no 12. So the computer will read it. That's why we have to be really careful with what we do and how we go about doing things. So just your basic information. And going back to this idea of what the computer is constantly reading in a continuous stream of information, it has inputted this information there because we skipped a couple of lines. So it thinks something should be there. So it'll account for those slots automatically. This point-and-click version of SPSS is much nicer than what it used to be when you used to just use punch cards and you had to write in code. So that's your basic information. Just like any other thing, you'll recall your data here where you can go up to your file box. Same thing with your edit, save, print, and the rest of these different icons we'll get into. One of the main things that you're going to want to think about, though, is your analyze. When we click on analyze, this is where we're going to find all of the information. So shortly, in the next session, you're going to be going to your descriptive statistics. You'll also look at t-tests and correlations, as well as probably regressions as well. So that's your basic introduction. Again, toggling back and forth. I'm going to go ahead and delete these variables, but this is going to be your test case. So if you toggle back to variable view, you can just go ahead and delete. Makes it all pretty easy. Okay, so in the next section, we're going to be talking about our basic descriptive statistics.